Today's podcast is brought to you by Precious Metals Advisor Tom Cloud. With nearly 40 years' experience in the precious metals industry, Tom Cloud offers sound advice and the best rates on precious metals. Learn more at ftmdaily.com/gold.
Friends, welcome to the Friday edition of Follow the Money Daily, a daily podcast dedicated to your personal, spiritual, and financial freedom. And speaking of, it seems as if on Fridays we've been doing financial freedom topics, so I think we should just make it. We should just call an executive order here and say it's going to be Financial Freedom Fridays from now on. We're going to focus on your financial freedom, things that you can do to break free financially, break free from the consumption trap, break free from the rat race, and actually start making some good investments, making some good money, making some good cash flow decisions. That's really what this Friday show is going to be all about. And today we actually have the author of a book called Invest Local, A Guide to Superior Investment Returns in Your Own Community. And it's written by a fellow by the name of David Barnett. Met David down at the Financial Survival Network puts on the Liberty Mastermind Symposium. And I was speaking down there, I guess it was in Dallas, and ran into David. And he gave me a copy of his book, and I read it through, and it looks like it's very helpful for people who are wanting to invest locally. So we're going to bring him on the program here in a little bit, and we're going to talk about things that even my wife and I have done in the past, investing locally to boost our investment returns. And by the way, for all of you who are new to our show, my name is Jerry Robinson. I'm your host, the author of Bankruptcy of Our Nation, and the publisher here at ftmdaily.com, where you can find each and every one of our shows archived. ftmdaily.com stands for Follow the Money Daily. I'm also joined, as always, by my lovely wife and national director of the Christian Financial Advisor Network. Jennifer, how are you doing this morning?
I'm fine, and I'm actually very excited about this topic today because you and I have actually put some of this into practice. Of course, before we even met David, who is the guest on the show today, as we began creating our multiple streams of income, we knew that we had to, diversify away from the internet, diversified away from Wall Street, diversified away from banks, and, all these different, you have to have diversified income and diversified investments. And so we actually have done a couple of these types of investments and created some income from investing locally. And so I think everyone listening will very much enjoy the interview today.
Yeah, I agree. And in fact, we're going to talk about some of those things that we've done here in just a moment before we bring David on. But before all that, we've got a pretty big announcement. And this is really good for those of you who have local businesses. So it's really good. I mean, this is a great themed show here. I mean, if you're a local business owner, or not even a local business owner, just a business owner in general, or if you are someone who's trying to build your clientele, or whatever the case might be, we have a great offer for you this morning. We are affiliated with a company called Constant Contact Email Marketing, and I'm sure you've heard of them. They've advertised in a lot of different places. And as an affiliate, we often get discounts to offer and to extend to small business owners or for people who are looking to start email marketing. And so we've got a really sweet deal this morning. And Jennifer, you have the specs on it. Why don't you tell the folks about what it is?
Yeah, new customers to Constant Contact get $50 cash in their pocket instantly. They get 50% off their first month Constant Contact service. And Constant Contact will create a beautifully customized, designed email template that matches your website. And so it's a great deal. All you have to do is just call us this weekend before Sunday night at 10 p.m. Call us at 800-609-5530, 800-609-5530, and we'll get you set up. We'll get the $50 in your pocket.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally instant. I mean, and I think if you want to have like a small Constant Contact account just to have an email, what is this, by the way? Well, it allows you to put a form on your website and collect emails. I'll tell you, I've been doing internet business for a long time. And there's an old saying that says money is in the list. And I tell you, that's a very true statement. You have to grow your email list if you want to be successful online, and you got to start somewhere. So if you don't have Constant Contact or something like it, this is a steal. But we only got 5 spots. Only got 5 spots. So you got to be one of the first 5 to call. 800-609-5530. Say, yes, give me $50 cash right now in my pocket. And also give me 50% off the first month. And give me a matching email template that matches my website so I can get into business online. And again, this offer expires on Sunday night. So don't worry about calling over the weekend. We are manned and staffed and ready to go for other things as well, but we are ready for your call. 800-609-5530. Be one of the first 5, and we will put $50 in your pocket. And the price of a Constant Contact account, I think, is as low as $20 a month. And you certainly don't have to keep the account long term if it turns out it's not something that you want to keep, but you do have to keep it for at least 30 days for this offer to apply to you.
And Jerry, if they absolutely cannot make a phone call over the weekend, that's okay. You can sign up online. You go to ftmdaily.com/50. That's the number 50, 50. So ftmdaily.com/50. And you can sign up there, but be careful because we have to be your affiliate in order to give you that $50. So the best way to ensure that it gets done correctly is to go ahead and just call.
All right, business owners or future business owners, that's one of the best deals you're going to find all week or all month for that matter. Call up and get your $50. All right, now let's switch gears. Let's talk about local investing. Over the years, Jennifer and I have done many things to create income. And one of the things that we enjoy the most is local investing. In investing in people. One of the things we've done, and I think you've heard this before, one of the things that we've done to make money locally is we have found individuals who need to borrow money locally. One example was a gentleman who was very good at finding used vehicles that maybe had something wrong, maybe a bad transmission or a bad, faulty fuel filter. Could be something minor or something major. And he would take them, buy them at a discount, usually at an auction or maybe, online or something like that. And then he would fix them up and then turn around and sell them. And he would often double his money. But his problem was that he just didn't have enough capital. He was a young father, very talented, but he just didn't have enough money. And you remember what we always say here, people either have time or they have money. And so I found a gentleman who had time, but he didn't have money. So I was the money and he was the time. And together we were able to go out and buy cars. I provided the funding and he would go out and find them, buy them, fix them up, turn around, resell them. And then we would split the profits 50-50. And so that's kind of a miniature version of venture capital, a very localized version of venture capital. You're investing in somebody's business idea. And his goal was to create a used car lot. So we were helping him do that. Another thing that we have done that many of you have heard before is we have started service businesses. And one service business in particular that seems to be very lucrative, what we found to be lucrative, is appliance repair. We have an appliance repair company down in Texas that we started several years ago, and we manage it from here, from where we are now, up in Northwest Arkansas. And the gentleman who runs calls for us, what we do is we do the same thing. We do a split 50-50. We send the business, and once the repairs are done, we collect 50% of the profits. And we talk about how easy this was to set up. And I hate to use that word easy because some people say, well, no business is easy. Well, I tell you, this is setting up a referral business like we did with the appliance repair company. That is easy, relatively speaking, to other businesses that you're needing to start, because really what you're doing is you're piggybacking on an existing business. You're taking an existing business that is already running and is already going, and you're simply coming in and augmenting it, or you're coming in and you're providing supplemental calls or supplemental business, and then you're being paid for that. And many small business owners don't have time to market. They don't have time to get out there and grow their business because they're too busy doing what they're already doing or trying to keep their business afloat. So what you can do is you can come in and help them market and then pocket some of the money. And how many places could you do this with? You could do this all over the country if you wanted to. We're only doing it in Texas, but we've often talked about multiplying this business and going in different states. So one of the things that I get frustrated at, I think, is that many people think that there's only one way to make money, And I tell you, we've just proven that to be false over and over and over again. There is so much money out there. There's no reason why anybody should not have a couple of streams of income, because all it takes is a little bit of thought and a little bit of sweat equity, and you can turn on a new income stream. And we want to help you do that. So anyway, those are some of the things we've done in the past that have worked well for us. And David Barnett has meddled in things like business machinery type of leasing. He'll actually buy machinery and then lease it to a company, or maybe like a restaurant that is getting started up and they have to buy machinery for the restaurant, but they don't have the money to buy the machinery, so they have to lease it. Well, why not lease it from David, right? Instead of leasing it from the company down the road. So they have to pay somebody for that lease. Might as well pay somebody like you, huh? So if you have the cash, you can go out and finance those deals. And how do you find them? Well, let's listen to the interview here with David. He's going to tell us some of his ideas, and he'll talk about his book, Invest Local. Let's head over to that right now. All right, well, joining me on the line today is David Barnett. He is a local deal-making expert, and he is the author of the book Invest Local, A Guide to Superior Investment Returns in Your Own Community. David, it's great to have you joining me today.
Well, thanks, Jerry. Thanks for the invitation to come on.
Absolutely. You and I actually first met down in Dallas. Wasn't it Dallas at the Liberty Mastermind Symposium?
Yeah, I was at the first Liberty Mastermind down in Dallas, and I met you and Jennifer there, and really enjoyed your talk, actually, and I bought your book and enjoyed it a great deal.
Oh, good. Well, let's talk about your book here, because the main idea in this book that I see is that investors shift their retail investments into wholesale investments for better returns. What are some of the pros and cons of doing wholesale investments versus retail? And I guess perhaps maybe even for brand new people to the idea of local investing, perhaps you should describe wholesale investing first and then describe why they're often better than retail investments for the investment performance.
Well, yeah, I'd love to. I guess the easiest way to imagine the difference between a retail and a wholesale investment is to think about retail and wholesale in the world of regular objects. We all know that if you go down to your local corner convenience store or gas station, you're going to pay more for a jar of peanut butter than if you go over to Costco. And so in the same fashion, when we buy investments, when we invest our money, there are retailers who sell retail investments, and these are the banks and the investment companies. And we go in there and we just hand over our money. And whether we're buying a CD or a mutual fund or just putting it into a savings account, we're doing very little. We're just handing over our money and we're getting a return. And the bank is doing much more work, and they're taking our money and they're doing something else with it. They're going out into the world and finding people that need to borrow money, and they're making car loans and home mortgages. And so I term that the wholesale investment market. It's a place where there are higher rates of return, but you've got to do a little bit more work. So while you're going to earn interest on that CD every year for doing nothing, if you're going to make a wholesale investment, if you're going to loan money to someone for a car or to a small business for a piece of machinery, you have to meet those people. You've got to make the deal. You've got to get the documents in order, and you have to collect the check every month. And if things go wrong, you're the one that has to take action. So I guess the downside to wholesale investing is that there's work involved, and the upside is that you're going to earn a far higher rate of return than you ever will get out of retail investments. And basically, you're just taking that spread, that profit margin that banks and investment companies make, and you're making that for yourself.
So it's basically private financing, if I understand it correctly. How did you get started doing private financing deals?
Well, interestingly, back in 2006, I was looking for a new opportunity. I wanted to get out of a career that I didn't really enjoy anymore. And I was looking for something new and different. And I always had an interest in finance. I took a course, a 2-day course, on how to properly package small business loan applications, and opened up a commercial debt brokerage. And I was doing commercial mortgages, capital leases, operating leases, factoring, which is the sale of accounts receivable, as well as term loans and government guaranteed loans. And I was acting like a broker. And what was happening is I was learning what these finance companies did in the way of paperwork and due diligence. And I got an opportunity when someone in my family, in my extended family, had an issue with their personal finances, and they needed to get their hands on a car. And I decided that I would do a car lease with them. And so it gave me my first hands-on opportunity to do all the paperwork and get everything in order to actually lease a car to a relative of mine. And it was a tremendous learning opportunity. And at the end of the day, every one of those payments came in. And that car is still rolling on the street today, several years after all the payments were made. But that experience kind of opened my eyes to the opportunity. Because you drive by these used car lots and things, and they say everyone will be financed. And when you find out the details, you learn that people with poor credit are paying 19, 27% interest on some of these car finance deals. But even people with good credit, maybe your next door neighbor who's never missed a payment in their life, if they want to go and buy a used car and they go to borrow money at the bank, they might be paying 6 or 7% interest. Well, would you rather earn 6 or 7% or the 1% that the bank is willing to give you on a CD?
In your book, you talk about a wide range of wholesale investments, from inventory financing to leasing machinery. What's your favorite type of investment that you found?
My favorite type by far is productive machinery. And the reason for that is when you get into a deal, you want to understand all the different ways you can get out of the deal. So obviously, the most ideal solution is you receive all your payments and you get all your money. But if that doesn't happen, what are you going to do? And if you are financing a forklift, a press brake, an ironworking machine, any type of machinery that somebody can use to make money and that is mobile, then you've got an opportunity, if there's a default, to get your hands on that machine and sell it basically anywhere in North America. Machinery that moves, that's not permanently installed, I think is my favorite by far.
David, what are some of the biggest warning signs that a deal is going bad? I mean, if you're loaning money to someone so that they can purchase a car, or you're leasing a car to someone, or whatever the case might be, obviously there's got to be some concern there, especially for a beginning investor. What are some of the warning signs to watch out for?
The biggest warning sign, both before and during a deal, is a lack of communication. If somebody doesn't talk to you, to me, that's the biggest red flag there is. And you'd be surprised. There are many times I'll talk to someone, I'll set up a deal with them. And on my blog site, there's actually a little video. I tell a story about a guy who approached me on a deal to finance 3 transport trucks. And before the deal was done, his communication just dried up. He eventually started talking with me again, but by that point, I had already decided I didn't want to do business with him. If somebody is in trouble and can't pay you and they're open and forthright and they communicate with you, I'd much rather work with someone on a deal and try to make it work somehow than have to run and chase someone who doesn't want to talk to me. That's the biggest warning sign. And if you've got someone who's not talking to you and they miss a payment with you, you have to act on the remedy in the contract. So if, in some of my contracts, it says that payments due, and if it's late, there's an extra charge for a late payment fee. And if the payment is more than 5 days late, they have to immediately surrender the collateral. You show up on day 5. You go get it. Because if it ever goes to court and they show that you didn't enforce your rights as a creditor, they can claim that creates a pattern of behavior where maybe your rights as a creditor aren't that important. So, I mean, that's the advice I give to a lot of people. Now, that shouldn't scare people, though, because in all the deals I've done, I've only had one deal go bad where I lost money. And ironically, it was a deal on real estate. And it was also the only deal I've ever done, which was brokered. So me and a friend of mine, another investor, we were approached by a broker for an investment opportunity. We did the deal. And I'm convinced to this day that the reason that the woman chose to go bankrupt and we got burned a little bit is because we didn't have a personal relationship with her. In every deal that I do, I have a personal face-to-face relationship with the person that I'm lending money to. And I'll tell you, if you can't pay the big anonymous evil bank, it's very easy, to go and declare bankruptcy or something, or run away from your debt from the big evil bank. But when it's a person that you've talked to, most people's pride and honor won't let them treat you that way. So that's another key point of advice from my book, is you have to have a personal relationship with the person you're doing business with.
That's really good advice, David. Now, whenever you do a deal and you get collateral on the deal, what qualities do you look for in the collateral itself?
I look for things that are durable and that have a wide market. So, for example, I wouldn't want to do a loan on a computer because it depreciates too quickly. Something like industrial machinery, something like kitchen equipment in a restaurant. And for kitchen equipment in a restaurant, this is a great example. That stuff depreciates like cars. You can buy a brand new double-deck roll-through conveyor oven from a local restaurant equipment dealer, and you could pay $20,000 for that machine. 2 years later, that machine on the second-hand market is only worth $9,000 to $10,000. So when somebody asks me, can you finance some restaurant equipment? The very first thing I say is yes, but you got to do a good job and find a good piece of used equipment at the right price. Because just like a car, they depreciate very quickly, right off the hop when they're new. So I like durable, I like transportable, and something that has a serial number. I want to be able to know what specific item out there is sort of mine. There's an example in my book. A leasing company did a lease on some dumpsters for a garbage hauling company, and the dumpsters didn't have serial numbers on them. And the garbage hauling company ended up going through a restructuring, and the leasing company demanded their equipment back, and the operator of the company said, "Fine, come and get them." You know where they are, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And by the way, if you happen to take one of mine, I'll call the police. So these guys were kind of stuck. They knew that they owned a certain number of dumpsters, but they couldn't tell one from the next. So serial number, durable, and you want to know where it is. In my agreements, I always put where something will be located, and I put in there that if they move it, they have to inform me. And for a lot of small businesses, here's a question of personal guarantees. I don't always ask small business owners to personally guarantee the lease, but what I do ask for personal guarantees on is the return of the property in a default. So I'll say to someone, look, I'll finance this and I won't require you to personally guarantee all the payments, which separates you from the bank in a big way. But I say I'll need a personal guarantee that if you miss a payment, you're personally liable to make sure that equipment gets back into my possession.
All right, David. So you have a book, Invest Local, a guide to superior investment returns in your own community. People need to pick up a copy of this. Where can they do that at?
The book is available from Amazon, and it's also available from my blog site, investlocalbook.com, as a download in PDF format there. And I do have a new book which is coming out shortly, which is called Credit Card Advantage, where I actually discuss how businesses can achieve strategic goals through the use of credit cards.
That's interesting. We'll have to have you back on for that book pretty soon. Now, in conclusion, let's give our audience, those who are out there who are saying, you know what, this sounds fantastic. I am already thinking of ideas of people who I could loan money to, or deals that I could probably work, or groups that I could probably go network with and start to find deals. So the very first thing that they should probably do is pick up a copy of your book and get it in their hands. But let's give them real quickly a plan of action. What are some of the first things that they should do if they want to begin investing locally?
The first thing they need to do is they need to familiarize themselves with local rules. And the best way you do that is simply on the internet. So in Canada, we do security for loans on what's called a PPSA, Personal Property Security Act. Down there, I think it's called a UCC filing in the States. So if you look up information on UCC filings, you're going to find out how people register liens against personal property. If you do some searching on the internet, you can probably find some examples of contracts that people use. And in the world of small private investing, there's literally thousands of people out there doing this kind of stuff. And a little bit of research on the internet will help you learn about the types of things that people are doing right in your own community. And it doesn't hurt, to be a member of one of these social clubs where you're going to rub shoulders with a lawyer or an accountant and someone who you can occasionally, throw a freebie question at.
Very, very good information, David. It really is. It's unique information. This is not stuff that you hear about very often at all in the investing community. It's typically stocks, bonds, mutual funds, real estate, just the plain vanilla stuff. This is interesting alternative thinking that many people who have a little bit of money and a little bit of time can go out and really begin to perfect. They can really get good at this and find deals in their own community. So thanks for your effort in putting this book together. Thanks for sharing your knowledge with our audience. And folks, if you want to go check out David's book, go to investlocalbook.com. David Barnett, great to have you on the program today.
Thanks, Jerry. It was wonderful that you invited me. Have a great day.
Well, if you want to hear the entire interview that we conducted with David, you can hear that in our Income University. We've placed that now into our venture capital area of our Income University. We have 22 different areas of our Income University. I can't believe it. There's so much information in there, and it's almost filled up. And, of course, we're going to be continuing to add to that Income University for the years to come. So it's just going to be a great place for people who are wanting to learn how to create more income or whatever the case might be. Insiders can go to the Income University and find that in the venture capital section. You can hear the entire interview. We also have a steep discount code. I think it's like 70% off if you want to buy the book. You can pick up the book for, I think it's like $3. So it's a very cheap. We have a coupon code there in the Income University.
Yeah, some really good information there from David. Now, don't forget, before we move on to the markets, if you are wanting that constant contact offer, that $50 in your pocket, please give us a call. You must call us and be one of the first 5. We only have 5 spots, and it's good until Sunday, June 29th at 10 p.m. So give us a call, 800-609-5530.
I wish I could have got started that way. $50 in my pocket instantly and get a free template. I mean, those templates are expensive. If you pay somebody to create one to match your website,
they can range hundreds of dollars for matching your website. So that really is a great deal.
Oh, it's a great deal. And then you get $50 instantly, and then, it's 50% off the first month. I mean, if you want email marketing, you've got to take advantage of this deal. All right, Jennifer, where are the markets at?
Well, the S&P 500 is sitting at 19 1956 right now. They were down yesterday, down just slightly this morning, but holding above the 1950 level. Gold is at $13.18 and silver is at $21.16.
Okay, so things are holding pretty steady. Again, we won't want to see the market above that 1950 level, but the market has been real skittish the last few days, and traders are certainly aware of that. There's a lot of hesitancy about where the market's going to head from here. There's been mixed signals coming out of the Fed. So we'll just kind of keep our eyes on this, watching it. All of our folks who have the market barometer, just be watching your emails, because as soon as this trend shifts, which it could be very soon, you'll be alerted in your email inbox. As far as gold and silver, good to see them still holding steady. They did pull back a little bit like we mentioned, but they are still moving in the right direction. So good to see that on gold and silver. We expect that to continue. All right, friends. Well, that brings us again to the end of our program. Thank you so much for choosing to allow me into your life each and every day right here on Follow the Money Daily. Now, as always, I leave you with this final word, this time found in the book of Matthew, chapter 13, verse 44. And Jesus says, "The kingdom of heaven is like treasure hidden in a field. When a man found it, he hid it again, and then in his joy went and sold all that he had and bought that field." Friends, no treasure or possession upon this earth can remotely compare to the treasure of knowing God and knowing His will for your life. Remember, when you want the truth about the global economy, just follow the money. Have a safe and prosperous weekend, and we'll see you right back here on Monday. Until then, God bless.
All of the information contained on Follow the Money is strictly for informational and educational purposes. The views and opinions of our guests and sponsors, including Tom Cloud and Jay Peroni, are their own and do not necessarily represent the views of FTMDaily.com or Robinson Media Group, LLC. Jerry and Jennifer Robinson do hold their insurance licenses and may offer consulting on life insurance and fixed retirement income products. Jennifer Robinson is an investment advisor representative with Faith-Based Investor, LLC. Remember, never do your financial planning through podcast or radio. It's your money. Be wise. Do your due diligence and always consult a trusted financial professional before making any financial decisions.